And it's Wednesday, 6 p.m.-ish. Jacob, you're there sharing the stream.
Yes, sir.
As you do.
As I always do.
Got a new guest on the show today. Some of you may know him.
You might.
You might know him by Uric. You may know him by Gen3ric. What's up, man? How you doing today? Sorry, I'm sorry. I had to.
No, you're fucking great. That's perfect for me. I'm sharing this shit right now.
He was trying to find a way to buy time.
He's like, please don't say something stupid.
No,
Too late.
I don't even care, man. I get made fun of every day. I'm not worried about none of that shit. I'm a white rapper. So I don't care about anything.
Nothing wrong with that, man.
Right. It is when you work somewhere.
Right.
When you have a day job.
I feel like that's one of those things where you're like, no, it's not what you think. Especially in your case where you actually have something behind your name, not just, all right, so I'm going to put out this mixtape, right? Have you put out anything? No, well, I got this idea in my head.
Right, I've been there.
Oh, yeah.
When I came up with the generic thing, I wanted to be called Gen3ric Wit because my name's Eric White. And my wife was like, that is fucking terrible. She was like,
no, let me
so
stop you there.
I went in the room and I just thought about it and I got high for a little bit and I just come back and I said, so we're going to do generic and I don't care what you think about it. She's like, that's better.
That's better, actually.
Oh, man.
So I was scrolling through your YouTube page and I got to know, where did E-Dub come from?
E-Dub was my nickname growing up, man.
Oh, okay.
So E-Dub was who I was.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because I was scrolling and I was like, I feel like he was called E-Dub at once.
Yeah, so, I mean, I've won an award under E-Dub, so, like, E-Dub is just the whole thing that I went through from way back in 4th grade. That's what my friends called me. And then just over time, like, the more deep I got into my life story with the music, the less people gave a fuck. And I was like, I started getting into more Post Malone music, more... Like, I love pop music my whole life. So I was like, man, I want to sing a little bit, but I'm terrible at it. So I'm going to auto-tune it. And I love T-Pain, and I love all these auto-tune, stars. And I was like, I'm going to sing my own shit, but I'm not just going to go through this whole E-Dub thing anymore. There's 1,000 of them. You can't trademark it. So it's like, if I want to make any money,
name E-Dub, there's 1,000
There was a fucking guy, I got roasted by people on on my Addicted video. This dude named E-Double, he passed away. And he had millions of views, and people were like, you're fucking trash. And come to find out, this dude's got a beard, glasses. I used to wear my glasses in videos, and a hat. Oh, no. Same persona. I never heard of this fucking guy. Shit. People were like, you're a piece of trash. I fucking hate you. I hope you die. And I was like, so E-Dub's gone now. Like, I don't want no part of this.
You did. You took the wrong turn.
Right, I should
have played into
route.
it.
Yeah.
You should have played into it. You should have released a video like, what's up, I'm E-Double. Y'all thought I was dead.
Oh, my God, dude. They would have killed me. They were so upset. So
would have got millions of views, though.
Fuck yeah, dude. I'd be famous and
exactly.
rich.
No publicity is bad
rich.
publicity.
You're right.
Yeah.
Famous doesn't mean rich. I might not be rich. That's what I care about.
Yeah. I'm morally rich.
I'm neither.
Jacob's sad.
Yeah.
Right.
So earlier we were talking about it, but I wanted to save it for the podcast. So I want to know where the inspiration for Grow Up, the video came from. And also, who the fuck did the choreography? Because it was great.
Well, I'm a big professional wrestling fan.
Okay.
So,
that adds up.
Yeah, I hit up D3ric a while ago. His name's D3ric, but he's like a 17th degree black belt. I don't know. He's just a fucking bad dude. And I was like, help me choreograph this shit.
Yeah.
But we couldn't make it work, so I just got these guys together, and I said, so beat me up, but don't beat me up. Mm-hmm. And we were out in the cold. Like, it was a day that was like 17 degrees, like the day after the ice storm.
Yeah, which added to the video. It was super cool seeing, like, the frost.
The bread.
Yeah.
And I was like, so we were out there for 8 hours with Taylor Graves, man, just making it work. And the dude really got spit on. And
I could tell that was real.
And he really got smacked in the face at the beginning. So
was that a real smack?
Yeah, that was a real smack.
Oh,
the sound effect was trash, but it didn't sound as good as it looked in person.
Yeah,
that dude shits on me at work all the time. The dude got smacked, and I was like, "You're getting smacked."
You're getting smacked.
But, the whole thing comes from there's a first and a second video. This is the third installment.
Oh, okay.
I put out an album called Generically Modified. And it's basically come off my debut Gen3ric album, which was self-titled. Mm-hmm. And so I came off that, and basically it's the death of this E-Dub character and the rebirth of this Gen3ric character through the eyes of everyone. And this guy who is basically, his character is like this prodigy producer, you know what I'm saying? Like, so he's like this young dude that everything he touched turned into gold, you know what I'm saying? And like his story, where we learn later on in the video, is basically his life has taken a turn for the worse. He's got these fucking henchmen. He sells drugs and shit now. Like, he's not this prodigy anymore. So he has one last ditch effort. He's like, I can make anybody a star. So he just picks some fucking random dude out of Kentucky, which is me, and brings
Nice.
me in, and he's going to turn me into Gen3ric.
Yeah.
And hopefully it turns out for the best.
That's awesome, dude. It's actually got a serious backstory behind it.
Yeah. I'm
He's
super-
like, so stay tuned in November. The movie's coming out.
right. That's how I come up with it, because I'm excited about the character. I'm excited about the albums, and I really believe in this shit, you know, whether nobody else does. So
Yeah,
That's all that matters.
Yeah, fuck them.
right.
But the song is a fucking banger too.
Thanks,
Yeah.
man.
'Cause I was like, I was torn between watching the video because I was like so entrenched in what was going to happen next.
Yeah.
It like kept my attention the whole time. But I was like torn between like anticipating what's about to happen and also listening to it. So I was
Right.
like, oh shit. Like I was going back and forth.
Right.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Yeah, and everybody like watching it that I know personally, they're like, "Oh, you're gonna get your hits in." I'm like, "Yeah, that's every movie's like that."
Right.
Like,
Well,
that-
it goes like 2 minutes of you just getting the shit kicked out of you.
Right.
And I was like, this is like the opposite of what you would see in a rap video. You know,
Right.
normally like he would have come into the room like killing everybody and fucking
Right.
Being a
hitting-
badass.
Yeah, hitting
You're the
poses
badass.
and yeah, you're the badass. And then in this video, you're just getting the shit beat out of you. And
Right.
then I really enjoy. I was like, oh, there it is. Okay, you start to make your comeback, and then still you get caught, drugged back into the chair, and
Right.
sat back down. I was like, oh shit, that's cool.
yeah, because in real life, these fucking dudes are 6'8" and 6'4".
They're
Like,
giant,
It's
yeah.
got to be realistic.
And
you
I
know?
love the nut kick.
Yeah,
'Cause,
and
like,
I really
Of course
did
you
it.
do.
No, well, like, have you seen the video?
I haven't seen all of it, no.
Okay, so he falls out of the chair. He's like got his hands tied, and he falls out of the
Yeah.
chair. And one of the dudes tries to grab him, so he kicks him in the nuts and tries to crawl away. I was like, that's exactly what anybody would do in that scenario.
Right,
You
right.
know, you're not gonna go John Wick and beat the shit out of him. You're gonna try to kick him real quick and run.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Yeah.
I love it, man. It's my best video I've ever. I almost fought a guy at work last week who talked about it. Like, he's like, "All you do is auto tune shit, and your video's trash." And I was like,
Let me see
"We
your
can-
video,
I was
bro.
like, we can go to the grass right now.
we can go
Because
to
I'm too old to fight on the concrete.
Right, yeah.
I'm not getting road rash for you, but I will fight you in the grass right now.
Hell yeah, that's hilarious.
How long you been doing it, man?
Well, that's another story. So I've been writing songs for years, you know, since I was like 8 years old. The first song I ever wrote was a little remix to "Wanna Be a Baller." Y'all weren't even born yet. So, and I've been writing songs for years, man. And one time, like, I was just doing a lot of drugs and wasn't doing shit with my life. I quit school. And Nova D, actually, I don't know if y'all know who that is. Dylan Fulkerson, like, he was doing music all the time, and I hit him up, brought me to his garage, and I just recorded a song and fell in love. And I wrote Golden Days for another rapper, and they quit, so I took Golden Days for myself. And I don't know if you guys have heard that song either.
I haven't.
But
No.
it's another fan favorite of the E-Dub character. It's just real life Owensboro type music. And so I've been doing it for my whole life, but full time about 11 years.
Wow.
So,
Is there? Well, where's the quickest place somebody can get to your work?
yeah, I mean, iTunes,
YouTube.
Spotify, like
Where I found
YouTube.
it, yeah.
Yeah, you can look up any of those. Like E-Dub 270 is how I branded the E-Dub thing because there's so many of them. And then Gen3ric, Gen3ric is how you can find
Yeah, it's
everything
in,
else.
it's in the title. Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Crazy girl. Who's the girl in the beginning of that video?
Beginning of throughout the whole video or just the beginning? 'Cause she's in the whole video.
Oh, is she?
Yeah,
I thought
it's-
it was a different girl.
No,
though.
she's just an actor.
Oh,
Just
really?
Someone that I met through Instagram and paid her $100 and paid her friend $100 to be in the video.
Nice.
Yeah, that's why it was so. If you watch it back, Swoop gives me shit about it because I had my clothes on in the bed.
Yeah, you did.
And I'm married, so like,
Right.
And my wife is all about me being an entertainer, but I was
Yeah.
in the bed and they're like, she was all about like we can hug and kiss and whatever, and I'm like,
Bet.
Nah,
Wait, let's do
I
that
was
before
just-
the camera turns on, though. You know?
I was like, no, I can't. And so I get made fun of for that all the time, but. I can't,
Yeah, because like the
I
beginning
can't
of the
even lie
video,
and act like I remember her name. I feel like it's Christina. She's gonna
it's-
shit on me.
It's a brandy. It's an amber.
Yeah.
It's a Portia. It's a
Right, whatever those Ted names are. So
Yeah, no, no. He's talking in the beginning of the video. They're in the bed and it's like they're like cuddled up kind of, and she's like in just like this typical kind of like woman sleeping shirt type
right,
deal.
like a cami.
Yeah, exactly. And he pulls back the blanket to get up, and he's like jeans and a t-shirt on.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, they were like, bro. I was like, it's kind of like we just got done and I'm about to leave, but it didn't look like it. It looked like,
Looked
like
I
just
bought
sleep
it
in my
until you
clothes.
got up, and I was like,
Right.
oh wait.
Right.
Now that I know you're married, it makes a lot more sense.
Well, I just also like the whole generic thing is like I get made fun of all the time for just looking generic and making this music. I'm like, I'm gonna play into it like Lil Dicky.
Yeah.
And if the joke's on me, the fucking joke's on me. You know,
Yeah.
like I still enjoy making the music, and I think it's great music. You know?
That's the right mentality to have about it, because there's so many people that get so mad. They get so fired up, like, don't disrespect me, bro.
God, I used to, man.
When their
I
egos
used
are
to.
so damn big, they can't take criticism at all. Especially in a small town like this, it can.
Right.
You gotta have thick skin, because you're gonna run into some of the people that are.
And in fairness, like oftentimes, and we've experienced this, the criticism around here isn't criticism. It's just like trying to shit on something that
Right.
you're doing because they're not doing anything.
This is different than
Right.
what they
Yeah.
like. Yeah.
It's hard, man, when you make music because like you guys do this and you love to do it, but you got other shit going on. You know, a lot of people that make music, they dive into it, and that's their real life story. You know, they're talking
Right.
about this shit that they come from, stuff they've been through, and when people shit on it, they take it super personal. I used to do the same thing. You know, I'm
It makes sense.
talking about my dad being on meth, being abusive, like drug abuse, suicide attempts. Like I talk about all the shit real happy on beats, like but it's shit that I talk about, and when I was in my mid to early 20s, man, like that shit just ate me alive, and I wasn't very good at the time. Let's be honest, like the music
Well, a lot
wasn't
of
great.
insecurity comes out in
right,
anger too. You know?
exactly. So you know, I'm just projecting all this shit on the people, and I'm ready to fight everybody over
Right.
a Facebook comment.
Yeah.
Who isn't, man? Especially in your early 20s.
Right, exactly. And
know?
who knows who I'd run into? I'd have run into some fucking Brock Lesnar looking dude.
You'd have been the next Spencer Jones.
Yeah, I got beat the fuck
Yeah.
up on
Did y'all see
somebody's
that
live
video?
stream. No.
I
You didn't see the Spencer Jones video? Oh, man, I sent it to Chase. I called you that morning. I
Oh
seen
yeah,
it.
that video. Yeah, I
the
saw that.
Oklahoma State football player or whatever.
Yeah, that was
gets
pretty
the
bad.
dog shit kicked out of him.
That's what happens. Sometimes you mess with the wrong one. Sometimes you
haven't
swing and a
seen it?
miss.
Have you heard about it or anything?
No, I don't know anything about it. Dude.
Oh, dude. So it's like the star football player for Oklahoma State or something. Big fucking dude.
Yeah.
And the video starts.
The white dude that's an MMA fighter that chokes him out. I did see like
Broke his fucking orbital.
like a headline of it, but I haven't seen the video.
So the video starts, and it's this football player, and he looks like he's trying to mediate, but there's two small dudes and two big dudes, and they're like in a bathroom at a bar, and one of the small dudes has his nose already bloodied when the video starts, and the star football player, look, he's like trying to mediate between this small dude and this bigger dude that's got a denim jean jacket on like a fucking douchebag,
Right.
and he's trying to mediate whatever, and yeah, the small dude turns to his brother who's standing beside him, another small dude, and he's like talking to him almost. And once you see the video, you realize he's like, "Hey, we about to fuck these dudes up. Like, you want to go to jail tonight? Like, let's have this conversation now before we get out of control." And while he's talking to his brother, the dude in the denim jacket pushes him, but he's like standing off to the side, so he gets pushed, but he thinks it's the dude that's right in front of him,
Right?
Because he wasn't watching. So he wipes his nose. There's like blood on his hand. He smacks the dude with the blood and then gives him a right hook, ducks under right hook, takes him down, mounts him, beats the shit out of him, then chokes him out.
Oh my god.
Meanwhile, his brother jumps on the dude in the denim jean jacket.
Yeah.
And, oh, dude, it's just
you got to
great
quit
video.
football now.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
you can't go to the NFL anymore.
No.
Can you imagine
Absolutely
fucking
not.
JJ Watt getting beat up in a bar somewhere?
Right.
You're supposed to be ultimate tough guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. I'm trying to think of like a road back from that.
No, you got to train MMA now, and you got to fight this guy.
Oh, yeah. There's got to be a rematch.
Some bantamweight charity fight.
Right.
You have to fight this guy now.
Yeah, and you definitely can't try to like charge him. You can't try to sue him. You can't try to do anything. Then you're just gonna be more of a bitch. Like
Right. And you're in a bar. Like, it's just
it is what
judge
it is.
will watch
Man.
and be like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're both going to jail.
They said that the two bigger dudes were like blocking the exit to the bathroom, so they're like, well, it is
Right.
what it is
Yeah,
then.
don't corner somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially those two motherfuckers.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the brother, not the main guy, but the brother of the guy, posted on Twitter saying that they showed a lot of restraint and they didn't want to have to do it, but they were trapped in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And blah blah blah. I was like, well,
Yeah, you just can't lock people in the bathroom and fight them like that.
Right.
Especially it was like Taylor's bathroom basically. Oh shit, that reminds me. I've been paying attention to the comments.
No, you're fine. Nobody's commenting. Nobody gives a fuck. So.
Oh, that's rude.
I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
Nobody does give a fuck. Fuck you guys.
He doesn't mean that, but he
do.
does. He does.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
With your Gadsden shirt.
What do you
on.
got in the works, man?
I just right now, I finally we've been doing mostly paper productions for 10 years. I mean, it started in my buddy's closet, So
You came out of the closet with it, huh?
Right, exactly. So we finally got our LLC taken care of, and we finally got signed a talent representation deal, and a merchandising deal with Eric McGuire, Mr. Cool Spot on TikTok. And
we'll have to get him in here too.
yeah, we got to get him in here. We'll talk about that for sure. And it's just one of those things where that's what I put all my effort into right now. I'm doing videos. I just got my Vivo channel approved.
Oh, super cool.
So
how do you go about doing that?
Well, who we distribute through Ditto, you can actually go through there yourself. You can go through a label, and you pay $100 and get it set up. And
Okay.
that's the problem. Remember that. All you fucking rappers watching this stuff, you can do this shit by yourself. I want you to sign with me. I want you to sign a contract with me, but you can do it all yourself. And we have a Vivo channel now, and my partner Kenneth Cox, man, he takes care of all the talent services and all that, and I'm the head of creative, and I just do what I love to do, man. I get in the booth with people, and we write songs, and we figure out ways to not go viral, but to create that replay value, just like the Grow Up video. You want to watch it 10 times, but you want to listen to the song another 20 because you don't know what it said.
Right.
So
yeah.
That's what you want to create as an artist. The greatest artists, your Chris Stapletons, your great rappers, your Drakes, Eminems, all the way to old school classic rock and roll. It's about the replay value.
Yeah.
So that's what we want to create. And Owensboro is just chock full of talent, and that's why we created this business. And as far as the Gen3ric brand, it hasn't stopped. 3 albums in 3 years, and videos are going to keep coming. So.
Yeah. Well, you kind of touched on it, but that's the other thing that struck me about Grow Up in particular, and mostly all of the songs that I've watched on YouTube at least, is that the videos are all 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Like an actual song length.
Right.
You got these modern day pop hits, especially like fucking Tekashi you brought up earlier. It's like 2 minutes and 15 seconds or something.
Right.
But it was nice to see an actual full length fucking rap song.
Right.
I was like, oh, look at that. He had something to say.
Right. And he's I don't know, man. I have to give a whole lot of credit to whoever came up with his character, because they're
did.
they're viral every time they fucking do something.
Yeah.
And being in the rap community, they're like, he told on people, but I want people.
He's not a fucking rapper, or
people
not
who
a
understand,
gangster.
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of people.
He's hardly a rapper.
A lot of people say they're hard, but if they're facing 50 years, I bet a lot of people tell on people.
Yeah, and
that's just how it is. That's why I got out of the game. I used to sell drugs, and I used to do a lot of shit that I shouldn't have been doing. But
allegedly.
So, and my wife told me I wasn't good at it. So I was like, you know what?
Listen, you suck.
Right. Well, I sold drugs to do drugs for free. That's not how you do it.
Right.
So
yeah. It's not a good way to make money.
If you're not ready for that type of shit, you got to get out of it. So, and a lot of people don't understand that his character was built up on being hard, but he had 90 dudes around him that could whoop everybody.
Right.
They all turned on him.
Every one of them. Kidnapped him and shit.
Yeah. He was telling on him. I don't know who ever thought he wouldn't tell on him.
Yeah.
So.
Well, they just released a documentary on him. And
I heard he was a piece of shit. Somebody that worked on that documentary said he's just a terrible person.
Well, I don't know, as far as, obviously I don't know him personally, so I don't know kind of the reality of it in the sense of having a third person perspective, but I know it seemed to show the real truth as far as he's self-made, he created this character knowing that he's he wants to be a rapper, but he's not a hard ass, so he went to a gang hey, I need dudes, I'm on the way up. We can play off of each other, and and then they were like, no, fuck you, we're gonna kidnap you and do this shit, and he's like, all right, well, I'm telling on all y'all then.
Not everybody's ready for that type of life.
Yeah.
And if I'd have stayed here, that's the stuff I would have done. I don't know about gang life. I've always been kind of a lone wolf type of dude. I ride on my own, but I wasn't shit when I lived here. Like I told you before we went live, I just wasn't shit when I lived here.
What was stopping you from being shit when you lived here?
Well, I mean,
or the shit.
It was an insecurity thing. I feel when I look back 10, 12, 15 years ago, like just growing up the way I grew up, you know, and I'm not going to say a lot about it because I say a lot in my music, and I want people to feel that through that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, my dad was not the greatest dude, you know what I'm saying, and was abusive, and he had his fair share of demons based on the way he was brought up.
Yeah.
And everybody in this city except a 10% seems to do meth anyway, so he got into that.
Yeah.
And so, and my mom just worked 3-4 jobs at a time, wasn't at home, so I just dealt with that all the time. And then just basically, like, not like you would in New York or Chicago, but I always say the streets raised me. Like, it was me and my friends just out in the street till 10, 11 o'clock at night. Like, I didn't give a fuck about school. I was one of those smart dudes that didn't care about school, and I'm not that smart anymore. But basically, like, when I was here, I was just popping Xanax, just robbing people for money. And
well, it sounds about like this town. Yeah.
yeah, you know, I just wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. So, my wife, my girlfriend at the time, like, her family had their own stuff going on, and she hit me up. She's like, "I'm moving to Bowling Green." I said, "Shit, me too."
Mm-hmm.
So I went up there, and I wasn't shit for a year there either.
Mm-hmm.
But she was just like, "We're not going to sign another lease, and I'm going to leave if you don't get it together."
Yeah.
So that's the moment that I started working and doing shit I didn't want to do to fund the rap music. And then she got pregnant, and then, you know, the story tells itself from there.
Yeah.
When you become a parent, you do what you got to do.
Shit
So,
changes.
right?
Yeah. What kind of like so? You know, Chase definitely knows. I was in a relationship with a girl who was very much like a dead end, like drug user. Try to get her on the right track. She wanted no fucking part of
Right.
it. So like, I've never been. That was the most I've ever been exposed to kind of that other way of living that some people seem to, you know, dabble in or fucking
Right.
make their lifestyle.
Right.
So I'm curious, as far as you said, you know, it was kind of like her ultimatum, but like, what is it in you that was like, I don't want to work, I just want to do drugs all the time?
Well, a lot of it had to do with, number one, like, I was getting easy money. That's what happens to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody at some point, not everybody, like you didn't, but you start selling weed. You know what I'm saying? You start going down that path. You're getting
But
high.
even then, man, it's like she
Yeah.
was doing that too, and it was like fucking $10 here, $10 there,
It's
and
no money.
And at the end of the week, it added up to like $200. I'm
Yeah.
like, you know, you could have made that in a day, like if you just got a
Exactly.
job.
But there's no money in it, period. And a lot of it's an insecurity thing, man. Like, and my insecurity was just doubled up whenever I moved to Bowling Green, like, because I had no job experience whatsoever. So I went to go apply to fucking Family Video and Little Caesars, and they told me I didn't have enough experience to work there. And that was the kick in the nuts that I
Damn.
needed. That I'm 20 years old, and they're like, "You can't work here."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I went home and cried, dude. Like, no shit. Like, I went home, told my wife, like, I cried like a baby. I was like, I'm nothing. Like, can't even work at fucking Little Caesars. You know what I mean? So, just for me, a lot of it had to do with, like, I had a lot of anxiety that I wasn't dealing with. I had a lot of insecurities I wasn't dealing with. I had a lot of past, like, that I never saw a therapist. You didn't do that shit at my house. Like, you got beat. Your parents fought. They threw dog food cans at each other. Police got called. Your parents were like, "Don't tell the counselor." You know what I'm saying? Don't tell nobody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Shit went down, and you just didn't tell nobody. Like, and you grew up in that whole environment that people make fun of 6ix9ine for. They're like, you don't snitch on nobody. In which, like, I still wouldn't tell on nobody, but if I had to go back, I'm telling somebody about what's going on at home. You know what I mean? Because that shaped who I am and who my brother became and all that other shit. So that whole environment, how you become like that, it's just like it's a perpetual, like, bad luck cycle. And if you listen to my music, you talk about me breaking the chain. It's almost like you're a slave to the lifestyle. You know what I mean?
And I've noticed, like, what you're surrounded in, and, like, especially like you were saying with how you grew up, like, that is your normal. Like, no matter where you come from, if you grew up in a mansion or you grew up in a single wide trailer covered in dog shit and cockroaches, like,
You're fine with that.
that's because it's all you've known.
Exactly.
You know, it's not until, like, you grow up, and even then, a lot of people are still like, I'm just gonna live the same way. Like, this is normal, and it takes a lot of, like, self-reflection, and a lot of people don't want to do that.
Oh, no.
You know,
That's the hardest thing to do.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially like you said with anxiety and shit. Like, do you still deal with a lot of anxiety?
I take medication.
Really? What do you take?
I take buspirone. Like, I take a non-narcotic because I know I'll be a drug addict. If they give me Xanax, I'm going to take it, and I'm going to like it, and I'm going to abuse it. So
Turn into a zombie.
yeah. So like, when my daughter got RSV years ago, it's like a respiratory thing. So I had just quit my job at a factory working 7 days a week for 14 months straight. I had 2 days off in 14 months.
Holy shit.
So like I really was just like, I'm gonna kill myself. Like if this is what life is, like I'm just gonna kill myself before my daughter ever knows who I am. I'm just gonna end it. You know what I'm saying? So that was a road I went down. Quit my job. She gets RSV. You know, my wife is like, you know, when are you gonna get a job? And one day, dude, I got high and I thought I was having a heart attack. You know, I had a panic attack, and ever since then, like, you know, people make fun of me, like, you'll see me doing this. Like, I'll check my pulse to this day. Like, I just get anxious, you know, and plus my mind, I think I have ADHD. I don't know.
Probably.
I don't believe in diagnosing kids with that anyway, but like I might have something going on, but
yeah,
my mind goes, you know, a million miles a minute. So
have you found any outlets for that? Like
music.
You know,
that's why I love it so much. You know what I mean? I can sit in the studio that I have at my house for hours and hours, and they have to come pry me out, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, it's that old saying, man, like idle hands are the devil's playground.
Right.
I firmly believe if you're just sitting around, not doing anything, not thinking about anything, like, yeah, no wonder you've got depression. Right. No wonder you've got anxiety, you know?
Right.
Like, it seems to be, like, almost common sense if you have no purpose for fucking life in general. Like, yeah, it definitely makes sense. So it's good that you found, like, an outlet, and it's also good you got your head on straight as far as, oh, my daughter's here. It's time to do something.
And we have a 1-year-old now, too. So, like, we just decided to start all the way fucking over.
Yeah.
You know, I joke with people at work, and it sounds so fucked up, but I'm going to say it for everybody to hear it.
Hell yeah.
Like, you know.
It can't be more fucked up than getting out of bed with some hot girl with your pants on.
We had an 8-year-old, and I'm just like, we would have been scot-free at 39 and 37 years old. Like, we had her early. And we were just like, you want to have another baby? We bought a house. We were doing great. She had just got out of school. I'm like, let's have another baby.
It was your idea?
Both of us, because we're stupid.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So,
it makes sense.
Yeah, because we're both stupid. So we try for like 3 or 4 months, and it doesn't happen. So we're like, yeah, we're good with one baby. And of course,
right then,
baby.
Yeah.
So
of course,
and she's awesome. You know, obviously everybody loves their kids when they get here. But those 9 months, I was like, I'm gonna be 50.
Yeah.
You know,
like,
I'm gonna be 50 something years old, and so. But fuck it, man. That's what we live for anyway. I mean. This is our kids, and my daughter loves my music, like my 9-year-old. Like, she's my biggest fan, and nothing feels better than that.
Yeah,
you know
that's awesome.
Like, my mom, everybody in my family loves it, but I talk about them in a way that they don't like sometimes. And there's nothing but just wide eyes and just bushy tails for my daughter, and she's like, I love this.
Yeah.
And there's nothing greater in the world. So
that's kind of like, you know, I've definitely faced, I don't know, I know you have too, as far as some backlash from like families when we talk. You know, we do a live show for thousands and thousands of people listen to every week, and so a lot of times, you know, I'll have family hit me up like, "Hey, man, like you shouldn't talk about that. You shouldn't talk about this." I'm like, "It's my life,
right?
So if it happened to me, or I seen it, or I experienced it, you can't tell me it's not up to me to talk about."
Exactly.
And if I choose to talk about that on a very fucking public forum, then that's just what it is.
I mean, we're telling these stories when we get drunk with our friends anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's whoever's watching right now, they've been through this shit. Whether they might not have had a dope fiend dad, you know what I'm saying, but they might have had a drunk mom. They might have just had parents who were rich as fuck and pawned them off on a nanny or something. Like, people have been through shit.
Yep.
And the fact that nobody wants you to talk about it, they know they did wrong. That's all it boils down to. You know what I mean? My father-in-law, man, one of my idols in life. Like, that dude is awesome. And he gets upset when you talk about shit he been through. He's the first one to look you in the eye and be like, yeah, I fucked up. Like,
that's good.
And I work towards, you know, fixing that every day. You know what I'm saying? And that's just, we all got to be like that. Like, we all fuck up every day. I know I do. I'm a fuck up, period. So, like,
I hear you.
You know what I'm saying? We all do it. So
yeah. You can't expect yourself to be perfect in most of those scenarios. It sucks because a lot of those people that would be otherwise bright lights in life and community and stuff like that end up going through such terrible times that sometimes they don't always get their heads on straight, and they end up getting being a slave to the system. You know, they get wrapped up doing some stupid shit that they don't really see the consequences
one of our
of.
fucking local rappers, I won't say his name, but he's been on the podcast and shit before.
Yeah.
Just got popped for armed robbery.
Oh, there you go.
I
You see
know-
that?
I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
He's
happens.
young,
Super young.
23, 24 years old.
Yeah.
You can't do it, man. You got it.
Yep.
I get it that, you know, you kind of spoke about it earlier. There's guys that, you know, dive in head first with the music and they don't really they have blinders on. So when it comes to actually being responsible, take care of yourself and make sure you're not a burden, some of that stuff gets put by the wayside and then they resort to the easy money because they're like so focused on something else that's not bringing in the money to make them not a burden or to make them not a problem. And I hate to see that because there's so many people that are very, very talented in this town, like you said, that have ambitions and drives that'll take them to wherever they want to go. But unfortunately, their setup when they're born in life doesn't always give them that opportunity as easily as it would somebody who is born with that mindset or is crafted in that mindset, and they don't have to deal with those setbacks of, you know, whether it be, you know, a drug addicted parent or somebody in their life that's eventually doing something to them that's going to hold them back to a degree.
Right.
You know, but, you know, everybody in this room knows that, you know, there's somebody we know that has been affected by some sort of drug, alcohol, or substance abuse like that.
Right.
And it's such a very common topic that comes up, you know, in everyday life. And then especially in this podcast too, we've talked about it a lot because at the end of the day, it's just telling the truth about your stories.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've taken flack, Jacob, you talk about taking flack, and I know you've taken flack about telling your story before, especially in a musical format, because people just always got to have their 2 cents.
Right.
But it says a lot more about some of those people that are willing to criticize rather than, you know, the person who's willing to go out there and give it their best and actually try to create something from themselves. That's a true mirror of yourself. You know, you talk about very earlier about the origins of Gen3ric and where, you know, he came from. I think that obviously you're not gonna. That's not like real or anything, but
it's a good band name.
It's
Origins of Gen3ric.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's so cool because it shows that the music to you is a form of transformation and a form of art more than just the music. You know, there's so many people that put out whole mixtapes that have nothing behind them besides what they've seen in their lives, like drugs, violence, sex.
Right.
And that's all they've seen, so that's all they rap or all they make music about is that, because that's all they see, rather than, you know, possibly taking a different angle of approach, which some musicians do, which is really nice to see, where you see somebody that's really came from the bottom and stayed true to what values they know to get them out of there, and their music reflects that. And
Right.
you see the cheap money guys like, I mean, I'll say Tekashi 6ix9ine, because like you said, it was kind of a bit that somehow made him super popular.
Right.
And then, but a lot of people knew he wasn't quote unquote real, right?
Right.
And so that made
He's
a lot
pretty
of
open
people
about it too.
yeah, he was. Yeah, it was very, very funny. But I don't know, man. You have talked a little bit about what inspires you, but there's a whole generation of people that are constantly looking for inspiration all the time, right? Now that you have YouTube and you can see everybody living their lives, what part of your music specifically do you feel like is a source of motivation? Like that comes from it, not just the music itself, but what transcendent value do you think comes from some of the music that you put your heart into?
Well, a lot of messages that I feel like I put into the music, whether people get out of it or not, is I treat life like everything is my fault, even though a lot of things that happen to us are not our fault. So when you do something fucked up or you mess up, what do? You get over it, you fix it, and you go on with your life. That's how I hit a turning point in my life where I was just like, you know, everything in this life was my fault. How I reacted to it, how I dealt with it. And that's what a lot of people, like, how you deal with things is how you choose to deal with things. We're all broken. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. No one's perfect. No one deals with things the right way. So my music just speaks to that point of view that, like, you know, yeah, my friends did me wrong. My life was fucked up. My wife almost left me. I did this, I did that. Somebody did this to me, but I did something to create this snowball effect. So that's what I want people to get from everything that I do or say is that you have a choice how to react to something. Be proactive in how you live your life, and then also know how to react to things.
Man, I think that's something that doesn't get hit on enough as far as like, you know, all especially our generation has heard since we were fucking little kids is high self-esteem. Want everybody to have high self-esteem, participation trophies. You can't do wrong.
Right.
You're good at what you're doing. You know, like all this kind of generic fucking, and not in that sense, but just
No pun
yeah,
intended.
exactly. All this like building kids up, but never letting them fall.
Right.
And so that translates into, I feel very strongly it translates into the shit we're seeing now with all this political correctness. And if you don't agree with me, then you're wrong. It's like,
Right.
fuck your feelings. Okay.
Right.
There's what you think, and then there's the world. You're absolutely welcome to voice your opinion, but no matter what side of issues you're on, you're no more important than anyone else speaking out on the issue.
Right.
So when you say you look at everything through the lens of it's your fault, I feel like a lot more people could use that lens.
Yeah.
A lot more people could have that that angle on life, whereas thinking, oh, this is your fault. I feel this way. That's one of the things that I hate.
Yeah.
I strongly hate.
Well, living where we live in the Bible Belt, I take it even further with people. Like I'm a Christian. I'm more agnostic. I don't know. I don't know what I am. I know I believe in God and Jesus. That's all I know. But
Okay.
I tell people all the time, like they're Christian, and I'm like, you know, the only perfect person is Jesus. If that's how you feel, if that's what you believe in. So don't walk around here acting like you don't fuck up every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you know, just every single day we do something wrong, and then we all want to be victims. Everyone plays the victim at some point.
Woe,
in their
it's
life.
me.
It can be
Right.
very easy to play the victim.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for X, then I'd have Y. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
It's super aggravating. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it always circles back to that kind of sense of like, I feel this way and it's your problem that I feel this way.
Right.
Like I always tell Chase this, like being offended takes two.
Right.
Like I can say something and you can perceive it to be offensive, when I didn't mean it anywhere near what you're
Right.
perceiving it to be.
Yeah, you sound like me talking to my wife. That's what you.
I feel like every guy has a conversation with their old lady at some point for sure.
Right, right.
But-
we're polar opposites. She's very sensitive. I don't give a fuck. So.
I relate very strongly to
Yeah.
that. Yeah, and I'm a very black and white person, and she definitely is far more gray.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where you kind of have to learn to like adapt to still like, and I still very clearly communicate, in which she appreciates the fact that she doesn't have to question what's on my mind, because like I'll just tell you. But I have had to like round the edges a little, like
Yeah.
not so in your face about it, but just like, hey, I'm feeling this way, or hey, this is what I'm thinking.
Right.
But
Sorry. I'm getting messages. I apologize.
Oh, you're
You-
fine, man.
He said, "Wipe that forehead." My forehead ain't even sweating, bro. It's hairspray.
It's the light.
No, let's be honest. It's
Answer your text.
hairspray. Let's be real here. That's my cousin's husband right there. So
Talking shit.
yeah, I don't give a fuck.
Man, you'd be one of those dudes who'd look good bald though.
Don't start.
You
Please.
you for real would look good bald.
At least you have a good beard.
Listen,
It's-
we
it's
just
well shaven.
met.
That's what I'm saying.
We just met.
You got a full beard,
but
man.
fuck all the way off because because I'm not ready yet.
What problem you have with going bald?
Dude, like I said, I'm a big pro wrestling fan. I got back in that way back, but like I always wanted the Shawn Michaels hair, bro. Like I'm all about the.
buddy, that ship is sailed.
I never grew it out,
Yeah.
and it's too late now. I'm not ready for it yet.
Man,
So
there's nothing more.
don't talk about me being bald. I'm not shaving it
There's
yet.
nothing more upsetting than seeing the dudes like we all seen it as kids. You can find pictures of it from 100 years ago where like dudes start to get in their 40s and 50s and they got like the bald spot up here.
Yeah.
And it's like, why are you letting that happen to you? Or
Yeah.
the even worse, like the complete U shape. I'm like, why are you letting that happen?
See, I might be holding on to something because my dad, my papa, like they got the widow's peak like I got.
Yeah.
And it never went anywhere, but I'm afraid mine might go somewhere. So I'm just gonna hold on to it until I
it's
fucking
not
can't
bad
hold on
now,
to it anymore.
and especially because you have a
It's too
you have
late.
a hairstyle.
You done started.
No.
You've already started.
I'm
down
still
this
on
path.
team bald. Don't get me wrong. I'm not changing. I'm just saying it hasn't gone.
Right.
It hasn't gone all the way out.
Right. I'm just gonna hold on to this shit.
There's hope.
Let it rock, man. Let it rock.
That's how I feel too, man. Every year I'm like looking at photos of myself when I'm younger, like, has it gone anywhere? And then I like look at my dad, and like my dad has had like the same like 50-year-old man hairline since he was like 30.
Oh,
so I'm
shit.
like, all right, well, maybe I'll have that.
Right.
But knowing my luck, when I turn a certain age, I'm sure it's coming down the pipe. It's just gonna start falling out because I know so many guys that are telling me like, man, it just happened overnight. I didn't see it coming or nothing. So I'm trying to mentally prepare. If it happens, it happens. It's one of those things that it affects so many men.
Yeah.
So many men, and nobody really cares that much. We just have to
That reminds
deal
me, guys,
with it.
go to keeps.com/takecoverpodcast.
Right.
Keeps.com.
And I'll never know because my wife and daughter, they lie to me every day. Like a couple weeks ago, I was 240 pounds, and I was like, I gotta lose weight. My daughter's like, you're not fat. I hate it when you say you're fat. I'm like, I love you so much.
So
but
why are you perfect?
Yeah, I'm kind of fat, you know? And like, my wife's like, your hair looks great. And I look at her, I'm like, oh, okay, it looks great. And I get fucking shiny forehead comments. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I get fucking shiny forehead comment.
Right. So I have the false sense of security, obviously. So
No, everybody. It's kind of one of those things where there's only two ways you can go around it. As far as you either look in the mirror and you're like overconfident, you're like, oh, there's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong.
Right.
I'm golden. Or you look in the mirror, and you're like, wow, I wish everything would be different. You know, there's nothing I would keep the same.
Yeah, based on what you said earlier, you seem like the kind of guy that takes it all in. You're like, you said everything's my fault. I'm like,
yeah, I'm like, so I fucked this hair up. That's what happened to me.
Too many ball caps, man.
Yeah, now he's gonna talk shit about how'd you read my message during the podcast? It's too late.
It's too late.
Yeah, like this is why we're here. Fan interaction. You want to talk about my fucking
Yeah,
hair? I'm looking at you. You want to talk about my forehead?
I got this right here too.
Yeah,
so-
I know where you fucking live, bro. I'm pulling up.
What it be?
Real rapper shit.
Rapper shit. Insult my hairline, you gonna
I
die.
love you too, man.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
So I haven't heard anything about Mostly Paper Productions. I know you said that you're getting into the entertainment game, and earlier before the podcast even started, you said you were kind of leaning more towards like the production side of things.
Yeah.
And that you aspire, or at least consider yourself, a musical engineer.
Right.
Like you guys were talking on and on about some shit. I had no idea what you're talking about. It's probably some super elementary shit, but on
the files.
Yeah.
The file types.
So I've seen like the videos of like dudes in boots and shit, and like all the setup and everything.
Yeah.
Like, how much of that do you get your hands on?
Well, I do everything. I'm not a beat maker, but it takes a lot more than that to be a producer. So I'm an audio engineer at heart. That's what I've always loved about it. Way before I got good at rapping. So that's just what I do. Like I have my own studio. I put thousands of dollars into it. And as far as Mostly Paper goes, like there was at one point in time, probably 2014, 15, where like low key, you met him in here, Logan.
Yeah.
We brought him in. Like me, Nova D, like we brought all kinds of people in. So Taylor Graves used to be T Will. Like at one point in time, my goal was to have every single rapper in Owensboro just promote this one team of people.
Oh, yeah.
So Mostly Paper's been around forever. I mean, we got nominated for Label Team of the Year at the SCM Awards in 2015.
Oh, okay.
Hell yeah.
And
So what's the rest of it then?
what's the rest of Mostly Paper Productions?
Yeah.
Well, it used to be, I called it a label, but it's not. It is now. It finally is as of January 25th this year. But like back then, it was just a thing. You know what I mean? But now it's an entertainment company. Like we represent like a Mr. Cool Spot, Eric McGuire. We have a talent representation deal where we book him for stuff. And we do merchandising. We have a deal with Printful where we can drop ship things to people. We have a merchandising contract. We can do record deals with people. So basically, we're like a one-stop shop. You know, you can go to mostlypaperproductions.com. You can book people right now. You can go to our shop. You can look at our newest releases. Like, we're just basically trying to do everything for people that we can. And if I go broke, I just write it off on my taxes and I get it back. You know what I'm
Hell
saying?
yeah.
Like, that's all it is. That's what people, they think it's a game or they think I'm trying to get one over on them. But really all it is like, I'm tired of seeing people struggle. I'm in a good place in my life where I can help people. And even after paying for my own stuff, I can still help people. So we can go on this adventure together. I'm going to do everything I can to make everybody fucking rich and famous. And if it doesn't work and you get paid and I don't, well, I just write it off on my taxes and get it back anyway. So
There you go.
that's how businesses work anyway. So that's Jeff Bezos doesn't pay any federal income taxes. So
That's right.
Well, it fell on its face, but I just meant like mostly paper. What's the rest of it?
I get it. This is another shiny forehead joke. Is what this one.
I didn't even catch it either.
I didn't catch it either.
I was like, so what's the rest of it?
So
He's
like I said,
so
this-
the other half of this is.
so this is my fault.
You're prepared for the interview,
Yeah.
and Jacob is not. That's
Sorry,
what it
that's just me fucking around.
Yeah, I was not ready for that. I'm just
Where did the name come from, though, for real?
fucking nothing, dude. We were in a closet doing ecstasy.
Sorry.
Every good story starts with that.
Well, doing Molly and just writing songs, and my partner now, Kenneth, he actually he's like, a great band name would be Mostly Paper. I'm like, yeah, Mostly Paper Productions. He's like, nah, and I'm like, too late. It's mine
late.
now.
It's mine now.
It's fucking
Now
mine.
I own that.
Right. So then we just kind of ran with it.
And he was like, I love you, man.
Right. He was just like, I guess that's okay. So it's kind of like full circle. He's went and lived in Louisville, and 10 years later come back around. And now we're partners in the business. So
Hell yeah. So
awesome.
he come back to Bowling Green?
no, he lives in Louisville. He's too
gotcha.
bougie to live in Bowling Green.
Hey.
So he's bought his nice house and has his nice shit up there in the Louisville area. So
That's what's up. What's he do? Just do the production?
well, now he's the head of talent. So like he's been a producer for Amazon. He's been a producer for different talent agencies and like an agent. And now he works for QSR. Like anywhere you go to a restaurant and like they type in all their shit and do your orders and stuff, he created that software.
Oh, okay.
So he's just a smart
awesome.
dude. So
Yeah.
since he's been a producer for Amazon and everywhere else, I was like, you can take care of this part of the business that I'm terrible at, which is why I've never made it anywhere because
Yeah.
I suck at this part, and let me focus on creating brands and everything else. So
That's why you got to surround yourself with people smarter than yourself.
right, everybody thinks they
that's
can
all
do it
it
on
is.
their own, and
No.
you can't. It's just impossible.
Nah,
Right.
You need help.
I tried it for a decade, and I was just bad at it. So
You got to play off your strengths, man. You
Right.
know what your strength is, and you reach out to somebody that has a completely different skill set, and that's the only way you're going to get anywhere.
right,
Yeah.
Especially the multifaceted lifestyle of the entertainment business.
Right.
There's so much of it relies on the people you know, what you have access to, and who you can talk to, who you can get a meeting with, who you can get to show up at, at your studio and stuff like that too. So there's a lot to it too. Like when we first started this podcast, I was doing a podcast by myself, and it was strictly just an audio only podcast, and it took a lot to just get it off the ground and onto the internet because it was me doing every little thing, and I didn't realize it was so many little things when it came to a podcast. But you can definitely do it. You
Right.
definitely can do it.
right,
But it's a lot easier if you get help. And that's why
Exactly.
I kept stalling out on so many of my projects and things I wanted to do was like I'm a lone wolf kind of guy too, where I want to be able to do all the things that I want to do, and then I'm the only one second guessing them. But at the same time, every time somebody else brings an idea to me and I embrace it, it turns out positive.
Right.
So I'm like, that's a sign for me to work with other people on everything that I do.
Exactly.
And I know you can definitely speak to it because we've had several guys in here that preach to your wisdom.
preach to my wisdom.
Yeah.
They're
so-
full of shit.
Yeah. but it's definitely a lot to undertake any sort of project like that. So do you feel like you've gotten better at it as the years have gone on?
Oh,
Do you feel
absolutely.
like okay?
Yeah. At first, like, it's my idea or nobody's idea. It's my lyric or nobody's lyric. Like, I'm at the point now at, the age I'm at that if someone wants to co-write a song with me, I'll write a song with them. You know what I'm saying? But 4 or 5 years ago, I'm like, they're
Oh,
all,
great. I've been waiting.
yeah, right,
I've got a folder of shit, man.
right, just ready
It's
to
mainly
go.
like cat, hat, bat, but, you know.
Oh,
like,
fuck it, dude.
yeah.
That's everything. So 4 or 5 years ago, I was like, they're my lyrics, my story. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, like every great artist has co-writers. So it's even down to that point, like you said, just collaboration in its, simplest form is just the best way to go, because getting with a group of people is the easiest way to come up with a great idea. They came up with Amazon in a garage with a bunch of dudes together. Nobody came up with that by themselves.
Probably
So,
on Molly.
yeah, even Steve
I'm
Jobs
hearing.
had a partner, and that's a smart motherfucker. So
Yeah.
Molly's important.
Yeah. The nice thing, it is hard to get anything off the ground, especially in a town this size.
Right.
Much less, smaller towns. We're still like the 4th largest city in Kentucky here. You
Right.
know.
You wouldn't know it.
Right. And the nice thing is though that we do have a community of people who are also creative and also trying to do their own thing and also trying to color outside the lines a little bit. And it seems like when you meet those people, they couldn't be any more supportive.
Right.
And
that's an issue you run into as far as like the hip hop community goes, because people don't realize how much money there is to be made. So everybody thinks that they're going to make the only money. And they don't want to work with you.
Right.
They want to start beef with you, and they want to talk shit about what you got going on. And they want to make fun of what you're doing.
It's that feast and famine mentality.
There's
man.
so much money to be made. Like, people talk about streaming. Like, how many different artists do you listen to when you listen to music? Like I put on, like, we'll be riding somewhere, and like my wife, we love Post Malone. We'll put on an album. It's only 30 minutes. The drive is 90 minutes. Like, we're listening to a whole bunch of other stuff. Everybody can make streaming royalties, and if you just come together and bring all your fans together and book a show at Milligan's or Legends or whatever, you're going to pack it out.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to make some money. Everybody's going to sell some T-shirts and some CDs.
Absolutely.
But everybody wants to beef, and they're like, well, if I ain't getting paid, I ain't coming. Well, don't fucking come then. Like,
Right.
I got 19
Do
other
you
guys
then?
that I can talk to
Right.
that want to support what we got going on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all it is. Like, if you bring the community together, whether you're doing podcasts or whatever, like, you have people coming here all the time. They're not like, fuck Take Cover Podcast. It's me over here. Like, nobody
Right.
does that shit.
Everybody that has a podcast is like super cool. They're like,
Yeah,
"Yo, we should do a collab together."
Right. This is a platform for everybody to speak on what they know about or what they think they know about.
Exactly.
And just like doing a show together, doing songs together, just collaborating with people, that's what you're supposed to do. Nobody wants to do it. Everybody knows the best, like you were talking about.
Yeah,
The lone
That's
wolf
tough, man.
mentality.
and I mean, it will get you only so far, though. You
Right.
know, like you can get really far only relying on yourself, because
Yeah, I can tell you that for sure. I did that.
Yeah, you set yourself these goals and then you go achieve them, and if you don't, there's no one to blame. You can't point the finger at anybody. So
Right.
you also have to be willing to fail to set those goals too. So
Right.
Well, on the other hand, you could look back after 10 years and say, I did this all myself.
oh yeah.
Whereas maybe if you had used the resources and connections and friends and family group around you, you would have got there in 2 years and
Or
said,
3.
wow, look what we did together.
Yeah.
Now we're all eating.
and it
by
doesn't
year
feel the
10,
same.
you could be self-sufficient and
Exactly.
maybe
Yeah.
millionaires. You never
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said about that lone wolf mentality, where we live in such a connected society where you're foolish to not take the help of other people that actually want to help you. I mean, if there was somebody out there, just a random person that was like, man, I feel like I got something here musically. These things are clicking with me. Everything, like, I just need a little bit of help push through the door. It would be stupid of them to not reach out to somebody like, hey, you have also been in this same position, but you did something about it or got with somebody else that was, further along in the process, and they reached down and helped you out. I feel like that reach down and help you out mentality does leave a lot of projects whenever money gets involved, because people get that mentality of,
man.
it's my money.
Right.
Not our money to make, it's
Yeah.
my money. This starvation idea of that you need to.
It's the hustler's mentality.
It's that hustling mentality, and man, it gets hammered in your head all the time that, like, all the money you want to make, you're gonna have to go out and fucking earn it.
Right.
You're very, very few times in life, 2020 maybe one of them, when you just get money handed to you. But
Right.
but other than that, like, you're gonna have to go out and get everything that you want.
Right.
Like, and if you don't go out and get it, or you don't even go out to, like, start the steps to find out where to get it, you're never gonna take that dream off. I feel like obviously with your situation with Mostly Paper Productions, you've started at a situation where you had this this ego with what you wanted it to be, but then you overcame that ego to be like, look, that lone wolf mentality, you've come full circle with it,
Right.
to where it is now more about reaching down and pulling the next ones up so that we can all march together hand in hand towards whatever the next step is. Do you feel like that was something that was like there was a moment in your life where you realized you're like, I gotta like, it's not just me here. I know you spoke a little bit about like, your wife saying, hey, get your shit together or
Right.
I'm gone. But other than that, was there a specific moment for you where you put your foot down and you said, this mentality that I've had of lone wolf me is not going to cut it?
Well, it had a lot to do with the rebranding, actually, like going from Edub to Gen3ric, because for a long time, I just I wouldn't use people, but I would bring people on that had a following. Nova D, Taylor Graves, Low Key, like people who had people that really believed in them, and I would bring them on. TJ Gentry, Tyke, like I've worked with so many artists, and I would bring them on almost out of selfishness, and they saw through it because you could tell by how I push projects. I'm not pushing their solo song, I'm pushing our song, and I'm doing all these things because I'm so worried about me. So everyone got tired of it. And here I am by myself, and I put out the deepest album I've ever put out, the Dog Days of August album. And I put it out, and I'm thinking this is it. Like, I'm just about to fucking blow up, and it flops. Like, I put $8,000 into it and made like $300 off of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I was at a crossroads where like all my friends, who we are friends, but everyone got tired of me fucking them over. And it wasn't a money thing because we were all not making money off music yet. Mm-hmm. But it was like, I'm not going to let you use me and my following that I've built up for your own shit. You know what I'm saying? So when I rebranded and I just kind of came out of that, like Phoenix out of the ashes type thing, I was like, I'm going to work with people when I feel like it benefits them. So like the Gen3ric projects, if you look at the features on them, it's like the Generically Modified album. I put Low Key on a song whenever Low Class was really starting to ramp up. And I was like, the first Gen3ric album was pretty dope. I got a lot of views. I got like 10,000 streams on the album. Like, it was way better than the last one. I was like, yeah, let me help out Low Class. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love those guys. So I did that. And then, I always do songs with Nova D because, like, we kind of have the same fans, And just people I work with, I want to help give them more people to look at. And I'm not saying I'm like just this famous dude or a lot of people listen to my stuff, but I do okay, you know? So anytime I feel like somebody's struggling or I want to shine the light on them, I do that now. And my life's great now because I take that mentality towards everything now.
Hell yeah. Guys, if you're watching right now, please go ahead and like our page. Stay up to date on all of our future live streams. We're here every single Wednesday at 6. Go like his page as well.
That's right.
Is it just Eric White, or do you actually have...
Okay, I have 2 pages. So it's
okay,
Gen3ric.
I was struggling with earlier.
Yeah, it's Gen3ric, Gen3ric. The 3 stands for third generation white trash, whatever you want it to stand for. I don't give a fuck what it stands for. And then Mostly Paper Productions. You like both of them.
Absolutely. Where can we get one of those dope-ass hoodies, man?
mostlypaperproductions.com/shop. You just go on there. I have everything. I got fucking fanny packs and everything on
Oh,
there.
hell yeah.
We got the same thing on ours.
Snapbacks, fanny packs, whatever you want to do. So.
Yeah, the link to My Paper Productions is in the...
To what?
My Paper Productions.
Mostly Paper Productions.
Oh, sorry.
I'm out. I'm fucking out.
I'm fucking out. It's we'll say that was the Corona Seltzer talk, and Mostly Paper Productions. You can find them on the details of this post right here, and then obviously all the links that are on your page as well.
Cool. Man, we have heard nonstop from everybody that's been in here in this past couple weeks that we cannot let you leave this room.
I'm not doing it
without a freestyle.
So
we have heard nonstop. I'm not letting you leave. I'll lock the door.
I don't freestyle.
So you're gonna have
that's
to.
That's why they want me to do it. They want me to make a fool of myself and ruin everything that I've ever done up to this point.
It's not ruining anything.
It's awful.
You're just putting yourself out there. You're an entertainer, man.
And you know what? If I wanted to put myself out there, I'd start a Pornhub account. Like, I would do that right now.
Or an OnlyFans?
Yeah,
generic
I would do it
OnlyFans?
right now. 99 cents a month.
99 cents.
To watch me freestyle and do a terrible job. Like, that's why I've always said I'm a songwriter, and I don't want to look like a bitch, but I am right now because I'm just not doing it.
That's
nothing. You got nothing in the tank.
I mean, I can rap verses of songs, but that's not the same.
I hear you.
You know what I mean? Like
I know nothing about that world, so I was just told.
I saw D Boone and Low Key talk about it. So
yeah.
So where was D Boone's freestyle at?
Well, the only one that came with something was Heath.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the only
that's
one that dropped a little
That's
song.
because when you're 21 years old and you got a big dick, you don't care about anything. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not worried about none of that. He can get all the girls with his freestyles. I'm not worried about any of that.
You're not trying to pull any more actresses into bed?
Absolutely not. I'm coming home.
I'm coming home. Man, you got any more questions, Chase?
No, man. We've had like several different guys from Low Class Lingos in here like the past few weeks, so it's been like a trend of entertainers in here, and it's been really fun because you guys all know each other.
Right.
And you guys have worked together on different projects. I was waiting to
I knew
pull
it was
that
coming. I talked to my partner because I said they're gonna make me freestyle, and I said I'll rap this one verse. He's like, "That's dope," and I said, "No, it's just you can
Well,
tell."
now you got to rap that one verse.
I'm not doing
Let's
it.
hear it.
I
What one verse? Come on now.
I can't do it.
Come on, you got to give us
I
something.
want everybody to
You
go
gotta give us
stream
something.
and buy the Great Value.
Well, they're
album
only going
right
to do
now.
it if you give us that one verse.
They're not going to do it if I do a terrible job.
They're still going to do it.
I drank
This
some.
is not produced. This is freestyling with no auto tune.
I'm just gonna do cat. Well, I don't sing when I rap, but I'm doing cat hat bat, and they'll cancel me like they did Dr. Seuss recently. So I'm not even gonna. I'm not getting canceled like Dr. Seuss before I ever get started. So you just call me a
man.
bitch when you see me
Oh,
because
shots out.
I will shake your hand and agree because
I'll
not.
say you're right and walk the other way.
I'm not doing it.
Fair enough.
I don't blame you, man. I wouldn't fucking do it.
That's not me. Like, I've always done that. I got friends that freestyle like a motherfucker, and I can't. Like, I can't do it. Like, like I told you, my brain goes a million miles a minute. I'll get like 2 lines out, and I do a terrible job. Like, it's just not worth it.
Of like all the shit that you've produced and released and wrote and had your hand on throughout the years, what do you say would have to be like, if you had to pick one song to be your favorite, what would it be?
That's so hard. And
it can even be like a feature on something.
It's really hard. I don't know. I mean, I've done songs with Jelly Roll and Lil White and a lot of features for people, and fuck, I don't know. Look, Casey Kelly's calling me. Shout out to Casey
boy.
Kelly. But I really don't know. I'm just gonna be generic with this, and I'm just gonna say my newest album, man, my Great Value album.
Yeah.
Is just.
By the way, I got a hearty chuckle out of that.
Yeah.
That title. I was like, oh, good lord.
Yeah, I just play into it. I don't care at all.
Yeah.
And but that whole album, like just the whole COVID exposure to everybody, and just I started drinking too much like a lot of people, and we've been inside for a while, and I have an 8-year-old who's 9 now, and she couldn't go to school, and just went through a lot of shit, and I just opened up and told everybody about how, my wife was gonna leave, and I was drinking too much, and I was on a downward spiral, and just being that open with people, like I think that's just the best project I've ever done, because I just didn't give a fuck if one person listened to it. I just needed to say it.
Man, see, like oftentimes that kind of like greatness comes from almost lack of inspiration.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's kind of hard to put your like it's like someone asking how do we make a viral post? Like you don't.
Right.
You just make a post and it might go viral, you know? So I don't know. It kind of just beckons like I don't know how to say it. Like
you can't just capture it in a bottle like that.
Right.
There's
It's
just
hard.
Especially with COVID, man. Like you said, like it's been so hard on fucking everybody.
Right. Couldn't do shows and couldn't connect with people and just so to connect with people through that album was just it was great, you know.
Yeah.
And just the great value thing, I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
I'm gonna do a mixtape this year where I do the whole Lil Wayne thing where I just rap on a bunch of beats and I'm gonna call it Free Lunch. Like it's just the whole generic vibe. Like I'm here for it, you know.
Hell yeah.
Until everybody's ready to jump off.
Yeah, I mean, man, that's the way to do it, though. You got to do shit. You got to work on projects that you're passionate about. There's no point in you, like, forcing yourself to do some fucking project that you are just not hyped for because it's going to show. Like you said, you know, your true intentions. Like, you can't hide it when it comes to art.
Right.
Like, other things, like menial jobs you don't give a shit about, you can fake your way through those. But, like, when it comes down to art, you can't fake your way through art. Like, I've noticed that it becomes very, very obvious to the listener, the viewer, whoever it is that's being entertained by what it is. The moment you start to be someone that you're not, I think people have gotten really, really good on picking that up, and they just tune out. Like, nobody wants to see somebody pretend to be somebody who they're not. You know, nobody wants to see a talking head, a puppet, you know, with strings and shit like that. And, you know, that's one of the things I love so much about this podcast, and I know I say this all the time, is that we get people in here that are so passionate about shit they care about that, like, they don't care what other people think. They don't like, they want to make money from it because that'd be cool because everybody kind of grows up with that idea in mind that, like, whatever I do, be good at it and make money with it, right? So I can get by and take care of the people I care about, right?
That's the American dream.
That's the American dream. It's so simple, right? But, I mean, it's kind of gross sometimes, too. You know, some people are willing to take those shortcuts. But with art, for sure, you can definitely tell right away whenever somebody's being insincere. And, you know, I think with the people who are hunting for that viral hit, like, that's all they care about is blowing up. That's all they care about is everybody's got to see this shit. There can be a good path of that. There can be. Like, you can seek that in the right way, but it's being true to yourself. It's not, you know, what's everybody paying attention to? All right, I'm going to be that now. Well, then you're just going to be like a shitty version of what everybody wants you to be, and nobody wants that.
There's so many great artists out there locally and everywhere that are doing that just, and when someone blows up, everyone says that like it's so real. I can relate to it. Like there's so many of us out there doing that. And just it gets overlooked. Like it happens all the time. And I don't know if you guys do it or not, but so many people do it. Like, you know, I know this rapper and they're like, oh, where are they from? Well, they're from Owensboro. Oh, local rappers. Like, come on, man. Like, what are you talking? Like, you know exactly what they've been through. You should fucking feel that more than anybody that you've ever listened to because you know exactly what they're talking about. You know what I'm saying? I could talk about fucking Mechanicsville and Baptown, and I could talk about all these things here in Owensboro that you know about. You know what I'm saying? But you want to hear somebody from Baltimore rap about some shit that they saw, and you're like, realest shit I ever heard. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, it's real, but you don't know nothing about selling crack on the corner. There's no crack selling on the corner out here. You don't. You drive in your car and meet people in the parking lot at the plaza. Like, you sell weed at the plaza. Listen to me rap about selling weed at the plaza. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just, there's no support for your fellow man here. Like, and it's just, it's shitty sometimes.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, that touches back on what I was talking about earlier. It's like, it seems like the general community here is not really. We're very blue collar. Keep your head down. Go to work. Raise your family. We don't really have time for this kind of like frivolous. Oh, you're making music, cool, whatever. You know, you'll grow out of that. Or we get the same thing with a podcast. Like, oh, okay, well, whatever. You know, but you find that community, and it's hard to not let that kind of shit weigh you down, especially when 90% of what you're gonna hear on feedback has nothing to do with like, hey, I got a good idea for you. It's always just like, why you do that?
Exactly.
Like, why is that so important to you?
Man, I got a dude that used to shit on me all the time. I had to block him. Every rapper, like Chalky White. I don't know if they ever brought this dude up, but he's a fucking hater among haters. Like, hater Hall of Fame, dude. Like,
hater Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that motherfucker just shits on everybody. It doesn't matter who it is.
Well, it sounds like a lot of people know his name then, at least.
Oh, fuck that guy, man.
I mean, that shit's toxic, man. It's so easy to fall into it accidentally, too.
Right.
Especially with social media. It's tough.
Right. He'll have to beat me up if he ever sees me. supposedly 6'4", like 290, like will beat me up then because I'm gonna smack you. In
Well,
the
everybody's
mouth.
6'4", 290 on the internet.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Like fuck that guy.
Either way,
I hope
though.
he sees it. Fuck you, buddy.
Fuck you, buddy. Hey, Chalky White, fuck
yeah,
you,
fuck
buddy.
you. Free promo,
Free
cocksucker.
promo. Yeah, there's a couple folks like that just have literally nothing better to do than to just hate on other people doing what they want to do.
Right.
And I get it. Some people are doing that because they're twisted and they come from a fucked up background too, and it's you want to turn the cheek and reach the hand down too and help that guy too, but sometimes they make it fucking
Yeah,
hard.
not that fucking guy.
Just kick him right in the mouth.
Fuck him.
Yeah, so some people make it absolutely painful to pull them up from the bottom,
Right.
even when you want to help people, you know. And everybody knows, like anybody who's a decent human being gets a little bit of enjoyment over helping somebody
Right.
that cannot help themselves. That's just like a basic human emotion, like especially with kids, right?
Right.
You help a kid do something that they couldn't do, you're like, because I'm an adult, you know, like look how useful I am. You feel good.
Hey,
about
it's because I'm an adult.
yeah, look at me. Yeah. And people just want to help each other in to most degree, but it does, and I know I brought this up earlier, it does get weird when money gets in the mix. It really makes people think very toxically about, that's probably not a word, but whatever. But it makes people think,
good enough
yeah,
tonight.
you get what I'm saying. But it makes people think very toxic when it comes to certain things that they want done. And I hate it because if you take it out of most equations, it turns out most people are on the same page.
Yeah.
Right? You know, and you even spoke about it earlier where you're like, well, you weren't necessarily alluding to money, but, you know, in the beginning you were kind of thinking, oh, they got a following, which will in turn help me. It's not money that you were necessarily after, but you wanted that attention. You wanted that
Right.
to be validated in your efforts, which we all do. Like
Right.
that's one of the biggest things that people want in their lives, especially men specifically, is we want validation for the actions that we put forth. But I definitely I have like grown to my wits' end. I got a text message earlier this week about some shit that like this guy was texting me about Donald Trump this week. Oh my God. And it was such a barbed question that like you can't even approach it. You see that person stuck in some sort of frozen anger cube that you're like, if I reach out and touch them, I get a little bit toxic too. And I couldn't even find like the words in me to respond because it was one of those things that if you respond to, that's exactly what they want. But at the same time, if you don't, that's what they want too.
Yeah, it's
you
so
know?
hard to get into politics now, man. Like it's
You don't even want to because it's so gross.
yeah,
At
it's hard
most
for me to
time.
do it because I'll fucking get canceled again. Like it's like I can't get into any of that before I have a major platform. It's like it's like I just kind of have to stay in my lane. And you know, people that know me know how I feel about stuff. But I mean, no matter if you voted for Donald Trump or not, I can say this: the man is fucking crazy. He might,
I don't know that anybody disagrees with
he
that.
might-
Let's talk about some
Yeah.
lone wolf mentality.
He might be a great businessman, but some things say that's not true either. He went bankrupt a lot on a lot of things, but
Everybody's off on his taxes,
I
right?
can tell you now I didn't vote for either one of them. So
Yeah.
I just went third party and slept that night. So
Amen.
Yeah,
Amen.
that's the move,
yeah,
man.
I couldn't do it this time, and I got
Yeah.
called stupid for that at work. I'm like, bro, we vote red in Kentucky anyway. Why,
Yeah.
are you worried,
Exactly.
why are you worried about how I voted? Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. People are looking to start fights these days, especially now when people get out of the house less, and so they're stuck on their phones more. So they want to argue about stupid
Right.
shit that doesn't matter.
Man, you
the
know, they were
social
already
media
calling
experience.
They were already calling that shit as far as we wouldn't know who the president was for like a week or anyway. I like the way you said that. It's like I voted third party and went to sleep.
I don't give a fuck.
I like that. I like that because that's
Absolutely.
mostly what I try to do too.
Yeah, like I voted third party since 2012, so I don't.
That's the move, man.
Yeah,
Man, I had hopes for fucking Joe this year. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like Jorgensen, not
Yeah.
Biden. But like it seemed like it was hype, like all over social media and
that's
shit.
the problem. Man,
And
social
then
media will
that
gas you up.
Bro, that fat 1% at the polls. I'm like, oh, okay.
Right.
I thought this was the year.
Yeah, I was a huge Bernie guy in 2016, man. Like
It was
really?
tough not to be though.
super Bernie guy. Me,
It's
we
tough
took
not
our
to be.
daughter to watch him speak in Bowling Green. Like I was all about it.
Yeah.
You know, we got videos where we were like, "Who'd you vote for?" And she's like, "Nana and Papa." Well, we went and voted for like Bernie Sanders. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, I was all about it, and I was super into politics that year, and then I felt like he got royally cheated.
Oh, of course.
He did. Technically speaking, he did. Get cheated,
I mean,
so.
they
fucked him
they
twice
admitted
now.
to it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So after that, like I was
Crooked
like,
Hillary.
I was like, you know what? I'm not even about this shit anymore. Like, I gave it my all once.
Dude,
like,
it takes so
and nobody reads about
much
policies.
energy.
You know, nobody
Yeah.
reads about in Kentucky. You work hard and you vote Republican because you think they're a Christian,
Yep.
and you don't know what the fuck they are.
Yeah.
You think everybody who is a blue collar person works for everything they have, so they feel like they have this rich man's mentality, and they
Yeah.
vote.
What's mine is mine. Go
they
away.
vote for this guy who's like, "What's
Yeah.
ours is ours," but it's only theirs for rich people.
Yeah, it's not for you.
And I make enough money now. I'm blessed enough now that I can't vote Democrat either, and I want to help everyone.
Yeah.
But the policies they want to put in place don't help my family either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like everything is so far right and left now that everything's cancel culture or say what the fuck you want.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the Morgan Wallen thing.
Yeah.
You had super right people like, I can say the N-word all the goddamn time with my buddies if they're black. And then you had super left people that are like, take him off the CMA awards and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can the dude just apologize and take a year off or something?
And here's the fucking craziest thing I've ever heard. We live in a capitalist society. So if you don't like that he said it, don't
buy
support
his
him.
shit. That like
Which
don't-
was insane to me that his
Right.
sales hit an all-time high afterwards.
Dude.
But that speaks volumes
well, it
almost.
killed
doesn't
me.
it?
Are we racist? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Did
kills
we just
me.
do that?
That's what happened, and it kills me because I watched that happen, and I was like, and there are people who are like, oh, there's a whole culture of music that says the N word all the time. I'm like, okay, so we're gonna do this now. We're gonna
Right.
gonna tell black people they can't say the N word. What the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
It's mostly just baiting into arguments that never go anywhere, and when they do, they never end in a way that's
Anything
productive.
productive. Yeah.
It's never
No,
productive.
Yeah.
And you can't even like nowadays like I don't even have Facebook. We were talking before the podcast, like I've deleted most social media. So like
Yeah.
if you're gonna contact me, it's Facebook Messenger or text message.
Yeah.
Like, and that's how I want to keep it.
You probably
because-
live a much healthier life than most.
Man, to be honest with you, I realized how much time I was spending just looking at other people living their lives that I was like, wait a second, I don't give a shit.
You're right.
I don't give a shit about these other people's lives. I mean, I do to an extent, but I don't care about their lives as much as I care about my life.
Right.
Heard that, Grandma?
And
That's how it's supposed to be. Stay in your lane.
yeah, and then that's fine. Like it used to be, like you hear "stay in your lane," and it's just like it's almost like an insult to some people. It's like no, like do you, and
Right.
everybody else will do them. Like
Right.
it's so hard to have conversations with people without them bringing in the opinions of other people that aren't there or they've never even met.
Right.
And it's like, can I talk to you?
Right.
Can I talk to you, not them?
Exactly.
Not the person who told you that. Can I talk to you about this
Right.
thing? And we're losing that, man.
Yeah.
We're losing it so quick.
Well, that's the thing, man. Like at work, man, people bring up religion and they bring up. Look, it says be less white. What is this?
That was Coca-Cola.
It was Mitchell Sieber posted that.
Well, that was a
Am I too
Coca-Cola.
white?
No.
Oh.
Coca-Cola told their employees to be
Oh,
less
to be
white.
less white.
Yeah, something happened in the news. It's nothing you did.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
he
I was
talking
like, is
about
this
you.
another forehead
Like,
thing?
God damn it! I'm leaving.
I'm
Right.
just wiping it.
And it's just like,
No.
you know, I work in a very conservative environment like South Central Kentucky. And everybody there is basically conservative. And so you can't talk about religion or politics. Because I tell people all the time, I'm very upfront about it. Like, I believe in God and Jesus, but the Bible was written by men.
Yeah.
And everybody lies. So I don't know who's picked what out of there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
it's
and
very
thousands of years ago at that.
it's very hard for me to take this, and you know, my supervisor is a pastor in his spare time,
Oh boy.
so it's weird. And he's very cool, but like we have these conversations. He's like, "How do you believe in God, not the Bible?" And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to answer that
because I'm
Yeah,
a person, and I
right.
get to make my own choices.
And it's so weird to have these conversations with people because I'm so far off from what they believe.
yeah,
Because they're like, Trump is a God-fearing Christian, and I'm like,
easy.
who told you that?
Yeah.
Though?
Yeah.
Did you go to this man's house? You know what I'm saying?
Right. So
And-
which church does he go to?
Right. And people say that about me, like he's a piece of shit. Like, do you know that though? Have you seen
Yeah.
me choke my kids and beat my wife.
Like, first of all, I do both of those things, but have you seen it?
Right. Like,
okay.
have you seen these things?
Unless you have a video, I have never done it.
Yeah. People just, I don't understand it anymore because everybody, for lack of a better phrase, is a pussy.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it that way because I don't mean physically. Like, you might be able to whoop my ass, but if we can't banter and disagree and be friends, you ain't shit. Like, that's how I feel about it because you need to grow up.
Right.
Because I could have voted for whoever I wanted to, and I should be able to talk about it. Because older people are like, we should go back to not talking about politics and religion. Like, I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
That's how I learn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, when you were younger, like, you just went off what your parents told you.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, my grandmother, who is almost 80 years old, called me and she's like, "You're not voting for Trump, are you? Your papa would roll over in his grave." And if I did vote for Trump, I'm okay with telling her that.
Yeah.
Because that's how it should be. Like, yeah, Nanny, I did, but I didn't. And I would have told her anyway, though. You know, like, because I'm okay with having those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with being called stupid if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Like, because a lot of people are abrasive. They're like, "You're a fucking idiot." I'm like, you know what? I probably am.
Yeah.
So teach me or don't call me a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Name calling doesn't help anybody.
Right.
Like,
There's a definitely a lack of like honest discussion, and not only honest but like unbiased discussion.
Right.
Whereas like if you're flying like a MAGA flag in your front yard instead of the American flag, there's not much we're going to be able to talk about, honestly.
That's so
like you're going to be
fucking weird to me.
Dude, I've talked about that so much
Has
on this
any
show.
president ever had flags in the back of trucks
No.
more than Trump? It's like,
Not even like it blows me away how many times I have seen an American flag. Like an American flag was on that motherfucker. They didn't buy that just to fly the Trump flag.
I told people that I know, I was like, you know, I would never, and I don't believe this. People call him a fascist, whatever they believe.
Mm-hmm.
People called him Hitler. I don't believe that was the case. I don't believe it was that bad.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But nationalism is how
yeah.
Nazi Germany started. Like,
Yeah.
no immigrants, no this, no that, no helping people. It's all about America, and you do what we do here. You fucking don't be here. Like, that is not a good road to go down.
No.
And I was talking to my wife about today, like in Myanmar, like they're jumping in people's houses, the government is, and burning books, and like, what are we gonna do now? Like, they're canceling Dr. fucking Seuss, dude, like over racist. I don't know what fucking books they're talking about. I never read a racist Dr. Seuss book. Like, what can
Well, they're going back in history to talk about the people.
He might have been
work.
racist. Walt Disney might have been racist, but I fucking love Moana and Frozen. I'm watching that shit.
Yeah.
I got a 9-year-old daughter. We're in that bitch
Absolute
tonight.
bangers,
you know what I'm saying?
bro.
Yeah, like like you can be a piece of shit, but add good to the community.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's so many people we talk to every day that are fucking worthless at home, but they add to our life.
It's insane how perspective and like objective reality is lost on so many people now, because like you're talking about Dr. Seuss. When Dr. Seuss was alive, that behavior was totally acceptable and it was the norm. So we can't sit back and say, well, you know, George Washington said the N-word once. Like, yeah, everyone did.
Yeah, like, and I don't get it anymore. And you can't talk to people about shit. They're scared to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, that's fucking a white wall right there. You can't tell me any different. You're like, that's eggshell. I'm like, fuck eggshell. Fuck everything.
And
about
fuck you
eggshell.
for saying it's eggshell.
Right. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely gotten very toxic in a lot of ways that are like trivial. Like it's trivial and pointless. Like we have gotten very, very weak in some respects when it comes to what things we can deal with personally and what we feel like we need help with.
Right.
But there are some changes that obviously need to be made. America is a country of laws that need to constantly be updated and constantly be moving towards the American dream, where it is, you know, people that come from the worst backgrounds can turn their life around and make it all the way to the top without any fear of like repercussion because of like where they started, right? And we have that in this country, which is really nice, but we need to be very careful not to squander it away, because you start to lose those generics. You start to lose those folks that they may seem so insignificant at some point in their life, but then something happens and they become a world changer.
Right.
Like, and that can happen to anybody. It's not something, who knows, it may be an evil fucking genius just picking whoever to
Right.
become whatever.
Right.
You know, you never fucking know. You
Right.
never fucking know, man. And you know, you can be somebody who reaches down and helps people and is willing to have those truthful conversations with everybody without the toxic need to make yourself a victim and to make other people conform to your ideas.
Right.
And this doesn't have to do with just politics. Like it's the way that we treat each other in general has changed because we're so in contact with everybody that we know, like
Right.
talk to in our circles than ever before. So when you get picky about something that someone does, you may be so picky about it because you see so much of their life that you wouldn't see before. And you're
Right.
so focused on it, so you think that they have things that you don't, and then those things just build up in your head. And I feel like there's not enough reminders in our like society today, in American society today, that like the American dream is not just some toxic thing from an old America. It's this idea that, you know, we're all the same, but we can be so much greater.
Right.
Right. And that is lost on so many people that I know, that they say that dude was a drug addict. So
I hate
this.
that. Yeah.
It is, man,
It
because
comes from this existential fear of change.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because we've changed more as a nation than ever. You know, there's change every day. You see it on the news, but the news wants to make it a black or white thing. Like you were talking, you're black and white, but you watch the news and you're like, it's nobody's fault that this shit is happening. Just like the Black Lives Matter movement, like police brutality is a thing.
Obviously.
You know what I'm saying?
absolutely a thing.
And you know
What? No, it's not.
yeah, and it's just like, you know, there's so many videos that come out. Like, that's the thing that people don't understand. If it was video after video after video of young white girls getting beaten up by police, and we've talked about it for 300 years, that police beat up little white girls, and then finally there's social media talking about it, it would have been about that. But it just so happened that this has been going on, and it's time to change. And we change all the time, but we don't want to change when people tell us to change.
Yeah.
We want it to be on us. You know what I mean? Nobody, like, just like the whole you can't say this or that type of thing. Like, you can't tell me what to say. But over time, it would just be normal. Like my daughter, dude, like me and my wife watch something, two girls are kissing, and you know where we live, that's fucking taboo. You know, like, and she's.
I remember when, not to cut you off, sorry.
No, you're
I remember
fine.
when Katy Perry, what's that fucking song? I Kissed a Girl and I
yeah.
liked it. I remember when that came on the radio, my parents were like, what the
Yeah.
fuck is going on?
Yeah, and my daughter, she was just like, "Why are they kissing?" We're like, "Oh, sometimes you know girls love each other, sometimes guys love each other, and they kiss." And she's like, "That makes sense."
Kids get that.
'Cause that's how we're fucking raising her. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you know,
I'm like, oh, yeah, okay.
yeah, she has a really good friend. My friend is black, and he has a daughter, and they're great friends. Not once has she talked about how her hair looks different or her skin looks different because it doesn't matter.
Right.
But when she gets older, if I force her to start being that type of way, as rebellious as everyone is, she's gonna be like, "Well, fuck that." You know, like and that's the problem with America. That's the problem with the American dream too, because I know a lot of people who are felons when they were fucking 10 years ago
Dude,
on
so much of
on
that
a
shit's so
nonviolent
fucked up.
charge.
Yup.
They can't vote. They can't get good jobs. They're relegated to fucking hard labor for no money and no insurance. And we want to talk about an American dream. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and-
The whole can't vote thing, I have such a moral objection to that.
Because you take their voice away
It's
at the
crazy.
government level.
and then
First
you
of
got
all-
people who walk around, they're like, well, if you don't like it, vote. Well, I can't vote, bitch. Like, I was
Yeah.
19 and got in trouble. You
Yeah.
know, like, who all was smart when they were 19?
Nobody.
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 You know what I mean?
Or 17 and get charged as a fucking adult.
Right.
Yeah.
Like 17,
Now,
bro, you're
violent-
in high school.
Yeah, violent crimes are one thing. Like, some people, you know, violence is just violence. Like, you kill people, like, well, sorry, dude. Like,
Well, and my thing is,
that guy can't vote anymore. You killed him.
I even go
Yeah.
a step further. First of all, voting should be an unalienable right. I don't care what offense you've committed in your life.
Right.
If you're in a prison, there's no reason they can't set a voting booth up.
Yeah.
Are you that scared of the incarcerated population that are going to vote you out? That was a politician's move, not the
Right.
American people's move.
Right.
Yeah,
So, like,
definitely.
first of all, there's no reason that you shouldn't be able to vote no matter what you've done. I don't care if you're a fucking serial killer. Your vote should still count. You're in the United States. Your vote counts.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
Also, you know, if you go to if felony, murder, armed robbery, whatever happens, happened, okay? But like you go do your time, you've paid your debt to the society, so now why are you still a felon for life?
Right, that's bullshit.
Once you get off parole and you're free, you're your own thing again. Why is that still on your record? Why is there a record to begin with? Like, why is any of that a thing?
Yeah, like this whole record thing is to just keep people like, and that's what privatized prisons are for, and everything else that is bullshit. Like, it's slave labor.
Yeah,
you make like 19 cents a day to go work release programs, and you fucking clean up the roads and everything else. Like, I mean, all my uncles, my dad, everybody in my family, I've been to jail once. Like, we've all been to jail and prison, and they just taken advantage of. You know what I mean?
And I've never been to jail or prison, but maybe you could shed some light on this for me. But I actually take the opposite approach as far as I feel that you have, when you get out of jail or prison, you owe that jail or prison, correct?
Yeah,
like you have to pay for the meals and stuff.
If you go in with money, you're not coming out with money.
Right. So my thing is, instead of just letting you sit in a cell for 24 hours a day, I feel like all of them should be working. Like, most of the people who end up in jail or prison are not on a good path as it is. Right. Most of them are probably not clocking in at 6 o'clock every morning, getting off at 5 o'clock at night, dog shit tired. You know what I mean?
We don't believe in rehabilitation in America.
Exactly. So, like, I feel like there should be more road crews. I feel like there shouldn't be any litter on the side of highways.
Right.
And
but not for 19 cents a day.
No, for 0 cents a day. I feel like that should pay for your stay in jail.
Oh, you think that they should just do it as part of their punishment?
Yeah, no. Well, I'm saying if you've got to pay for your stay in jail, and you'll go back to fucking jail if you don't pay them, by the way, which just is almost like a loan shark. It's insane.
It's like when they put people in jail for not paying child support. Like, how am I going to pay it now?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like instead of giving you 19 cents a day and then saying, hey, you owe us thousands of dollars when you get out of here, so hope you can do that. By the way, you got a felony on your record, so good luck getting a job.
Right.
You know, instead of doing that, how about you get up every morning at 6 a.m., you take a shower, you brush your teeth, and you go to fucking wood shop and build lamps to sell for the prison. Or you go pick up litter on the side of the highway. And when you get out of prison or jail, you don't have a debt to pay to that jail because you've been productive the whole time.
Right.
And that would be far more of a rehabilitation than just letting you, like, oh, you're in timeout now for 2 years where you don't get to advance yourself or anything.
Yeah, and it's overpopulated as fuck, dude.
Like, and they say they have all these programs and shit all they want, but I feel like we both know most of the time it's just horse shit.
And the justice system is trash. Like, I went to jail in Ohio County. I was in college, like, just rode back with some weed before weed was a citation. You know what I'm saying? Got pulled over by a state boy, went to jail, and the dude who was in the bunk below me had been in that jail in Ohio County for 3 years on trial for murder. Just in the county jail for 3 years waiting to get charged with murder that he did. Like, the fuck is this guy doing here? That's how everything is so overpopulated. Because you have how many court cases a day and nothing ever gets solved? You know what I mean?
Right to a fair and speedy trial. And speedy means 3 years.
Yeah, we've lost our way. Like, and a lot of people, like, I'm not an America hater. Like, I love it here. You know what I mean? There's a lot of opportunities I've been afforded. If I would have grew up somewhere else the way I grew up with no money and stuff, I wouldn't have anything that I have now because you are what your family is. You know what I mean? But here I've had the opportunity to just, pull myself out of the dirt and get what I have now, which I'm not a millionaire or anything, but I'm fucking blessed, Yeah. And so there is an American dream in that sense. Mm-hmm. But they don't want anybody to do better for themselves if they fuck up one time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And everybody's that one fuck up away. Like, like my wife has a friend who got charged with a DUI, and she was sitting at a restaurant with a friend and had a margarita and left 2 hours later and blew and went to jail for DUI. She's a nurse and could have got her license pulled and everything.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, they don't play around.
And she just had a margarita with her friends 2 hours before and just blew like .001 or whatever it was over the limit, barely over the limit.
Yeah.
Just
it doesn't take much.
Yeah, just because she's like a little girl who drank a margarita, and they would have fucked her life up.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I know plenty of people that have just gotten stupid things on their record very early in life. Yeah. And it takes away so much of like their ceiling, and they don't even realize it. Like, I know there's a system for getting expungements and getting stuff off your record, but
who's got time and money for that?
Some places it's not so bad, but if you live in a larger city, I could imagine it being a horror like trying to get an expungement off your record, depending on what it's for. You know, there's like petty theft and stuff like that you can get taken off, but like serious felonies, you are facing an uphill like battle, because I know a guy who I used to work with, who had gotten out of jail. He was trafficking methamphetamine, and he had that felony. He couldn't own guns. He loved to hunt. The only thing he was allowed to do was bow hunt, and he said, I can deal with that. But it took him years and years and years. He was a musician as well, who was in several different bands, and, you know, he said, the thing that I hate the most is not that, like, it's hard for me to get a job. It's hard for me to do the things that I love now. He's like, I love hunting. He's like, I love doing these things. I can't go anywhere where there's guns. He's like, I can't own a gun. If I have to defend myself, I have to use my bow or a big knife. And he's like, and if I stab somebody, guess where I'm going? Right back to prison.
Right, exactly.
He's like, no court is going to look at a self-defense plea from me and take it seriously. Yeah. The amount of times that, you know, he was just going on this on and off story, and it's hard to understand that when you're very, very young, because he was telling me this when I was 17 years old. And I'm like, dude, why were you selling meth? Well, you dummy, why were you selling meth? And like, I don't know this dude's backstory. I don't know why he was selling meth. Turns out he was selling meth to make sure that his younger sister had a home and all this shit. And I'm like, oh, well, now I'm the asshole because I jumped judgment.
Right, you never know.
And I hate that, because somebody who maybe initially had a good heart in what they were doing was doing something wrong. Obviously, it does get a little bit weird when you're talking about drug offenses, because there's a countrywide, worldwide conversation about what is a drug and what should you really lock people behind bars for.
Nothing.
You know, and should it be a
nothing
plant?
Drug related.
Yeah, should it be a plant? Should it be a drink? Like, really? I mean, that stuff does drive me nuts too, and we could talk for hours and hours about it.
It drives me nuts that the government thinks
somebody had a question for you, Eric. I'll go ahead and read it. My question is, what do you do lyrically, as in your life has turned around and your past experiences have now turned into a success story? How is this going to change your rap game?
Well, there's a lot I haven't talked about. I mean, there's a lot.
Figured.
There's a lot you can reflect on that I haven't talked about, but and I make happy songs, man. Like it's not all about sad shit. Like I'm moving into a part of my life where I want to make more upbeat stuff, like, and that just feeds into the whole Gen3ric brand even more. You know, just more poppy radio songs.
Having fun with it.
Yeah, just having a good time, man. Because, you know, and fucking people's life still have issues. You know what I mean? Like, I could make a fucking rap song about how I hate my job. Like, I could do that and be just fine with it. But there's a lot that I haven't talked about, and there's a lot more for me to say. And it's going to piss a lot of people off.
So, if you're not pissing people off, you're not doing something right.
Another good question. What artist has inspired you the most?
It's so cliche. It is. It really is.
That's a softball, man.
It is. It's not just Eminem, but growing up in the environment that I grew up in, you know, he talks about his mom, and it was my dad, and just so many fucked up issues in the home, and that resonated with me. You know what I mean? And that really made me want to write music. And my mom is a big Owensboro homer. Like, you don't leave, you don't do anything with your life. Not that, I don't want to say that. I love you, Mom. But, you know, I wanted to take singing lessons when I was 13. I was in choir in middle school. Like, I was writing music. I wanted to be musical. And she's just like, we're not paying for singing lessons. You know, nobody makes it out of Owensboro unless you're playing sports. You need to focus on baseball and football. And I was like, all right. You know, but Eminem kept me writing music, and you know, as it went on, just rap in general, you know, Kanye, and even after he fell off the wagon, like, I still love Kanye. Everything he puts out, you know, Christian or not, like, I just
still is a great producer.
Yeah, and just a lot of rap music, I love it, you know, and a lot of R&B stuff, you know, like, that's why I like to sing, and even though I'm not good at it. I love to sing songs. Though. Yeah, I mean, fuck it. That's why they created auto-tune. Yeah. I'll sing all day long on some auto-tune.
I got another one for you. These are back to back to back to back. In your opinion, what is the difference between a freestyle rap artist, battle rapper, and being a rapper just telling a story? Yes, very generic question, but the only one true to generic to answer the question.
Yeah, that fucking guy. Forehead, okay? That was him. So the difference, I think freestyle rap artists, they don't freestyle anymore, by the way. Battle raps are very intricate. I have friends that battle rap. Number one, they're better writers by far. It's not even fucking close. But some of them can't write songs to save their life. You know, some people are just very rhythmic and they feel the percussion and they vibe. You know what I'm saying? That's where the best songs come from. Some people are just super, super lyrical monsters. And they just slaughter people. And some of them can write songs. Like, you know, Eminem was a battle rapper. You know, like, there's a lot. I bet Lil Wayne would be a dope battle rapper. Like, there's some people who just got bars and metaphors for days. And I could never be a battle rapper. Like, my brain doesn't function that way. Like you were over there, like, you were coming up with jokes about the most of the paper. Some people just think and double entendres, and they come up with shit all day long. And I'm very cut and dry, you know, and that's why I like to write music. And so, listen, hold on. Let's get to the shit talkers real quick.
Oh, shit.
Because Cody Martinson said, "What up, E-Dub? You still make you mad hitting against me." So we play baseball together. So that's a great friend of mine. When we were younger, he just pitched so slow. And, like, you get this person, you go up, and, like, he had a bunch of junk, and it was all good, but it was slow. So I was like, I'm about to take him yard. You know what I'm saying? And that motherfucker struck me out more than anybody.
Oh, no.
He just had the best junk pitches, and I would just swing out of my fucking cleats trying to hit it.
Oh, my God.
And just to this day, he's an asshole for bringing it. My daughter said she's watching. What time is it? Aren't you supposed to be asleep?
8 o'clock.
I love you, Aaliyah. And then low key said I'm ugly. So you missed that part of the podcast. You missed the whole ugly part.
You missed out.
Yeah, you missed out, man. You're too late.
Oh,
That's generic.
That's generic.
Wow, come up with something better.
Oh, man, that's awesome, man. I'm glad you have such a positive story when it comes to your music, and then the point of getting to here. Because obviously it's very tough to do anything of meaning and not get shit on for it. So I do appreciate you willing to have this conversation with us, but also the other people in the community that have spoke to your mentality when it comes to you know, your particular situation with music and how you want to handle your label and how you want to go about treating other people that come on board with your team. What are you looking forward to, man? Like, we put 2020 behind us,
right?
And you're looking at 2021 like this is the year to kick some ass and take some names.
I'm ready to finish telling this generically modified story. I mean, I think Grow Up is easily the best video I've ever put together.
It was cool as fuck.
I'm getting very creative, which is something I was never before. I was just a good songwriter. I couldn't bring it to life. This entertainment company, man, like I'm not converting to a full CEO of a business yet. Right. Like, I still feel like I have a few years left to be a great artist, but I'm ready to just take this on and just create stars. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because I know I have what it takes in the work ethic and the creative direction. Mm-hmm. My partner can book anybody for anything, and I just know for a fact that if it's not the first, second, or third person that signs with us, somebody's going to be a star soon, you know, mm-hmm. and I'm excited to have a hand in that. And a lot of people can't say that. Like, a lot of people want to be the star. I would love it. But creating that for someone will give me just as much, you know, confirmation in everything I've done so far that I've done a great job, you mm-hmm. know, because I work a 9 to 5. I work 6-7 days a week. You know, I've worked 2 jobs recently to pay off cars. You know, my mortgage is fucked up. Everybody's got shit going on, but I mm-hmm. still make time to put on for other people, and that really that makes me happy, you know?
Yeah, that's your sense of self.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It's cool that, like, not only do you know what you love to do, but, like, you know what your passion is, too. Yeah. And it's cool that those two kind of intersect, and they hit a crossroads where you're actually able to pursue it.
Right.
You know, not a lot of people get to say that.
It's hard, man.
Yeah.
But, like, I just now did it for years. Like, I was just like, I'm going to quit. I'm just going to quit.
Yeah.
Just pissed off, and I'm going to quit.
Can't quit.
Yeah, everybody does it. Fucking I quit.
Fucking understand.
Yeah, and And I'm glad I never did, you know, because it's weird. Like, I was going to start my LLC to buy my new studio computer. It gave out when I put my last album out on New Year's Eve. It just quit. And I couldn't recover anything. It was just over with. And I was going to start this LLC so I could buy my computer and write it off on taxes and dissolve the business next year. That's literally all I wanted to do, so I could keep recording music and get my studio back up to get people in the studio. But my partner, one of my best friends that I started Mostly Paper with in the closet, just offered me a merch deal through his third-party company that he was working with another friend on. I was like, yeah, I want to do that. You know, I want to sell merchandise. And he's like, so what do you got going on? And I told him, and here we are. You know, just overnight, it's just like it kind of happened when I least expected it.
That's awesome, dude. Well, it's about that time, Chase.
Yeah,
We're
it
about
has.
8 o'clock
man. It's been a good podcast, man. I appreciate you coming in here, being honest with us, and then also, you know, shame you didn't spit a little freestyle. I
mean, it's not too late. It's not too late if you know, if you're feeling it. You know, everybody in the chat, call him a pussy or something. Like,
do it right now.
Do it. I just want to see this comment thread blow up.
But yeah, man, I do appreciate you coming in here, taking the time to come down here and sit with us and talk with us. And
I appreciate you guys for doing this.
Man, it's obviously
got some decent weather.
Yeah, exactly right. You know, obviously, we're obviously welcome to have any kind of person on the show to sit and talk to, especially if you know anybody that wants to get their story out as well. But I'm glad that you came in here. You were honest. You're very down to earth with us. Is there anything else you want to spit into the microphone before we go tonight? Any thank yous, any shout outs, anything like that?
Really, just look, somebody finally called me a pussy.
There it is.
There it is. But I don't know. A lot of people, I feel like, don't thank their families. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for my wife, like, I would have killed myself. I mean, let's just be real. You know what I mean? And whether it was purposely or just doing a lot of drugs. So, you know, I want to thank my wife, my daughter, my in-laws, my family, you know. Just, it's almost like it's an award ceremony. Like, just, I wouldn't be shit without them. I wouldn't be shit without the Nova D's, the Low Keys, the Taylor Graves. Like, they pushed me to be great. You know what I'm saying? And you know, Swoop, like, he big bro'd me when I started up. You know, they didn't do that back then. Like, and I that's what I'm trying to do now is give people that big bro moment. And just, I want to thank everybody I come in, like you guys, like, just platforms that people create.
Yeah,
and just,
absolutely.
And I want to keep doing this, man. I love it.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, man. Thanks for coming in. Guys, thank you so much for watching. We're here every single Wednesday at 6. If you're still with us, please hit that like button on our page. Click the links we provided to go to all Gen3ric shit. Buy his new stuff. Buy that dope-ass hoodie that I'm going to get as soon as this podcast ends. And we'll be right back here next week. Thanks, guys.